Hey, how y'all doing? It's me, Just Arin this time, coming at you from a higher quality than usual microphone because I decided that since we won't be having a typical Not Just Arin podcast episode this week, I kind of just wanted to, do a solo podcast by myself because as it happens, I really like podcasting. It's actually so much fun. But as I've said in a tweet and a community post, Joseph cannot do the podcast this week because of life things, and whether or not he decides to divulge any of that information, probably not on our next episode because our next episode is a very special episode. But the episode after that, I can ask him. He might say no. I don't know. I'm not him. So, hate to cliffhang you like that. But yeah, I just wanted to do, I don't know, a one-off episode, the It Really Is Just Arin podcast. So I don't expect this to be as long as our typical podcast episodes. Is that my refrigerator? My refrigerator is so loud. Oh my God. Okay. I don't expect this to be as long as our typical podcast episodes because, while I do like talking to myself, usually the conversations me and Joseph have, they go on their own little paths and they last a little while. So this is just going to be something short and fun, maybe short, hopefully fun. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing solo podcasts probably even after this one, but really very often. However, if the people want it, who am I to say no to the people? So, yeah. Also, this is just going to be posted on my main channel, not my podcast channel, and not on Anchor. So, not on Spotify or Google Play, or what is it? Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts. And I feel like I got an email a while ago telling me that I needed to do something on Apple Podcasts to stay on Apple Podcasts. I should probably check that actually. Oh, I have to accept terms and conditions. And that was from April 7th. Jesus H. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna do this later. Hopefully I'll actually remember to do that. But yeah, I do have a couple of things to talk about, so I guess I'll just jump right in them. The first thing that I have been thinking about a lot that isn't, work related is the fact that I'm going to be moving soon-ish. I don't have a set date because I did something that is probably very silly and probably very financially irresponsible, but the quickness that I want to move out of my current apartment made it so that that decision, I guess, made sense to me at the time. And also my fear that I wouldn't be able to find a good enough apartment by the time me moving out came. I don't typically have fear of missing out. But when it came to looking for apartments, I had a big fear of missing out because I did something that was also not super responsible, was that I started looking for apartments the second that I got the notification that they would be raising the rent from, let's see, I pay $865 now, which that $865 consists of $840, which is my main rent, and $25, which is for parking. We have gated private parking, and I live, in a downtown area. There's not a lot of parking around here, so I guess that's worth paying $25 for. Beats me. I don't know. I'm not a landlord, but I saw that they were going to be moving my base rent to $865, and then, of course, I'd have to still pay for parking, so that'd make my rent $890. So basically, almost $900. And then, fun fact, this apartment is already too expensive to begin with. If you do the little calculations that your rent is supposed to be 1/3 of your income, I make before taxes now, and after taxes is a whole other different conversation, but before taxes I make $35,000, which I know talking about how much you make is kind of a taboo, especially in America, but I think that's mostly to keep poor people content with being poor, but that's neither here nor there. I make $35,000 a year. And from that, I'm supposed to be able to pay at maximum, I think $800. So now I'm going $65 over that. And if I stayed in this apartment, which I really don't want to do for reasons I'll get into in a bit, then I would have to pay, or then I would be paying, even more over that. So $90 over that, almost $100 over my max amount. And so I obviously didn't want to do that. And I don't really want to be living here anymore, you know? Like, you probably haven't seen most of my apartment, aside from maybe like my kitchen area in the background of a video and like my living room area in the background of a video. But my apartment is like really small. I was thinking about doing like a video about it at some point, but I guess I decided not to. But they don't advertise how many square feet this apartment is, not on their website or on like Zillow, which is where I saw it. And I think it's because it's not a lot. Let's just say that. Honestly, in my new place, I'm just gonna glance. Honestly, you know what? Yeah. Okay, so right now I'm sitting at like my counter island, which is where I like eat and stuff because there's no space for a dining table. But if I take minus the entryway and the kitchen, which I mean, more like a kitchenette if you ask me. But if I take this like wall all the way back to the other wall, that my like quote unquote living room area is roughly the size of what my bedroom is going to be in my new apartment. And my bedroom, I will say, is roughly the same size as my living room, but you know, it's still kind of small. And also, it feels smaller because I made the very silly decision of buying a twin bed, because when I moved in, I thought, oh yeah, all my like my computer desk and all that stuff is gonna be in my bedroom. It isn't, and I'm not gonna be doing that in my new place either, because no, thank you. But honestly, if I had like a regular like even like a full size bed, you know, all of that space that is in my bedroom would be gone. So that's one reason that I don't quite like living here. At first, it was fine. Like, I could deal with it. It didn't really bother me all that much. But now, you know, it's not enough. I just don't think it's enough. So that's one reason. And then the other reason, honestly, the biggest reason for me, is that it gets so unbearably hot here in the summer that I can't deal with it. Like, it's June now, and it's already been going up into the 90s during like the highs, especially like last week. But that is not as hot as it's going to get. We're only getting started. This is Mississippi, mind you. It's going to get much hotter. So the thing about that is there is no central AC in this apartment. It's old. It's like from the 30s or the 20s or whatever. I don't know how hard it would be to like install central AC in an apartment. I thought it would be fine because my apartment is so small, but the window unit that I have, it's good enough to cool my living room because that's where it is, you know, but my bedroom is noticeably several degrees hotter. Like, if you walk from my living room to my bedroom, there's a noticeable temperature difference. And if you walk from my bedroom to my bathroom, it's not as noticeable, but it is still hotter in there. So that honestly started getting to me because for a while, I want to say around when I first started moving or living in here, which was, that was late July, and so like early August and stuff, which is, you know, the hot months. I couldn't even like sleep under a comforter, which, having a comforter might not have been the best idea, but it's what I have, and I didn't really want to go through buying new sheets, even though what I did end up doing was like buying a blanket, which is just like a thin blanket that wasn't even big enough to cover my bed, by the way. I bought a twin size blanket. It's only kind of twin sized until I realized that the sheets that I have, which I'm still using the sheets that I used in college, which also that was kind of the reason that I bought a twin size bed, because I didn't want to buy new sheets, which is so dumb. I could just buy new sheets. It's not even that difficult, but whatever. I don't know what was going through my thought process at the time, but yeah, I've been wanting to get a bigger bed for a while now, but if I did, I would want to get the exact same kind of mattress I have, but I have no idea what kind it is. So I have the receipt and everything. It doesn't say on there like the brand name or like a product number or anything like that. I've tried looking it up. I have not been able to find it. It's a little frustrating. But anyways, what was I even saying? Oh, it gets hot. I tried to buy a fan. I bought a tower fan that doesn't oscillate because, you know, we don't oscillate because we circulate the air. I bought it for like 60 something dollars, and I ran it one night, put it in the threshold between my living room and my bedroom, AC, of course, blasting, and it was so unbelievably loud. Like, I mean, I think it's like marketed as a quote unquote quiet fan, but it's the opposite of quiet. Like, I don't know if I'm just used to having like complete silence when I sleep, but that fan was far too loud for me to sleep, so that doesn't even work. I spent $60 on basically nothing. Probably gonna end up selling it when I move because, I mean, I won't need it because my new apartment has central AC and heat, and I have a ceiling fan in my bedroom. Here, I do not have a ceiling fan in my room. When I was living at home, I had a ceiling fan in my bedroom, and of course, my mom kept the house like really cold, so I didn't even have to worry about anything like that. But also, when I was in college, my dorm had central AC because I was in the bougie dorm. So, like, I never even had to worry about any of that until now that I'm an adult living on my own in a place that doesn't even have good air circulation. And so, what I would have to do in the colder months is that I would have to keep my window open, which led to a bunch of wasps getting in, which is not fun when you're trying to sleep or you're getting ready to go to bed and you see like a wasp just chilling out on your blinds. That happened to me quite a few times. I had to buy wasp spray. I don't see them much now anymore because I keep my window closed because it's far too hot to leave it open. So yeah, that's another aspect. It's just too hot. And then of course, I mean, living downtown is okay. I mean, downtown Jackson is not exactly a place to live. I mean, I could probably list on one hand the like apartment buildings that are down here. It's mostly just like, well, I mean, it's not even really businesses, it's government buildings that are down here. And of course, I am next door neighbors with the mayor. So, not the mayor. Actually, I don't know where the mayor of Jackson lives. I don't think he lives like downtown, but I am next door neighbors with the governor. Not actually next door neighbors, because I think the governor's mansion's like on Capitol Street, and I'm not there. So, metaphorically, not even metaphorically, it's not even a metaphor. We live in the same neighborhood, me and good old Taint Reeves. And he has to. Now, I haven't heard this in honestly kind of a while. But you know, when it was happening, he would also have to hear gunshots at night, just like the common folk. Isn't that just great? And he hated it. Well, I don't know if this is, you know, any press conference, because I don't watch press conferences, especially not from this governor, no. But it was at least that one press conference where he's like, oh, you know, I just trying to have peace in my house and I hear gunshots outside, and it's like, how does anybody live like that? And it's like, gee, Mr. Taint Reeves, I wonder how anybody lives like that, even though a good chunk of the city of Jackson is living like that. Now you have to experience it, and it's like, oh man, somebody should really do something about this. So that's really interesting. We did have a problem with drag racing. And I mean, there you have a loud car right there. But I mean, at least now it's what time is it? It is 6 in the evening, so that's a bit more acceptable. But we were having issues with like people driving really fast downtown, and you could hear it. And I mean, listen, I come from a place where you hear loud cars and gunshots quite often, and while it did bother me, I am kind of used to it, so it's not something I'm gonna go out and complain about, because I mean, it is what it is, you know. That's just life for me and a lot of other people. So like, it's kind of weird to say I don't care, but at the same time, I actually don't care. So, I mean, listen, you know, gunshots, they're not great, but they have been a reality of my life for a very long time. So I just find it really hard to like care about it, especially considering that very little can be done about it. So, you know, I am living in the highest number of murders per capita city, I think, in the United States. So that's fun. That's a really funky, fresh thing I did not know I was walking into. Honestly, I didn't even hear about any of this stuff when I was like in school. I guess when you're in college, you're like kind of sectioned off into a little bubble, and it's really easy to kind of close yourself off from like the rest of the city, even though Belhaven is not large by any means. It's not a very big campus, But being that I didn't have a car my first 2 years there, and also just the fact that I don't go anywhere, it's really easy to, not know about these kinds of things. And honestly, I think when I was in college, I could probably count on my hand the amount of times I heard like gunshots, because that neighborhood it's fairly bougie. Now, however, it is starting to kind of go downhill. I'm on the Nextdoor app. I like to see what the boomers are up to. So I often hear people in that neighborhood and like Belhaven Heights, which is like adjacent to it. I do see them sometimes complaining that, this neighborhood has gone downhill and we need more police because more police always fix things. Guys, didn't you know that? More police, they always make things so much better and not worse for anyone. God, did you not know that? Come on. Anyway, obviously I'm being sarcastic. More police does not fix the situation in any way. And I know I say that, but I genuinely do not know what can fix all that's going on in Jackson, because it's kind of widespread. And by it, I just mean bad. Just bad. Not anything in particular, just general bad. The infrastructure is whack. A sinkhole opened up actually right outside of Belhaven like last week. They filled it in with gravel. But I don't think the way to fix a sinkhole is filling it in with gravel, because it's the way that it happened is like a water main broke and then water just like seeped in around an area, and then eventually the road like caved in or something. So I think that's just putting a band-aid on a bullet wound, but hey, I'm not a civil engineer, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, infrastructure crumbling, the city government is corrupt. I mean, if you've seen my David Archie video, that's Hinds County, Mississippi. That's where Jackson is. And I see this stuff on the news all of the time. Honestly, he's calmed down more recently. He hasn't been wilding out as much as he used to, but he's a bit more chill now, I think. And so, I mean, the trash situation, which is still going on, they're bringing in like judges from other districts just to adjudicate on whether or not the mayor can like veto council votes about the trash. And it's like, why is this even being discussed? Like, why? That's all I have to say. It's just why. Why? Just why? And I mean, I have a sinking suspicion, and I mean, I think other people think this as well. It's just that this new trash company, I'm realizing this is very specific to Jackson, Mississippi. So if you're not from here, this might not be as interesting to you, but I live here, and therefore I want to talk about it because it is interesting to me and it's something that directly affects me. So here I am. Anyway, the new trash company, Waste Management, they're not the new company, they're the old company, but Waste Management is a company that does trash that they service a bunch of like cities throughout the United States. They had the contract for 10 years. Contract ended. Mayor was like, you know what? I'm not going to renew their contract. I'm going to hire somebody else. At first, a company called something I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, I talked about this on the podcast, on the main podcast, but I will recap. Hired some company that like literally was incorporated a month previous to them being like, getting the contract. They didn't have any garbage trucks. And then there's now some other company, I think out of Baton Rouge, called Richard's Disposal. That's they have the contract, but at the same time they don't. But they've been picking up the trash, so they're not getting paid for it though, which is the weird part. So like at that point, I mean, listen, we got to get our trash picked up. Otherwise, it's going to cause even more problems for the city of Jackson. But if I were John Richard or Richard's Disposal, I would first of all, where's my money? Where's my check? Well, okay, I know why this is happening. It's because, I don't know why. I can't say this is why for certainty, but it seems to me and a lot of other people that old Mayor Lumumba and whomstever is in charge of Richard's Disposal, we'll call him John Richard for now, might be in bed with each other, not in a fun way, but in a you do this for me, I give you money, and we all profit off of it kind of way. So I think that's what might be going on. I have no idea. Okay, well, I do have some idea because I read up on it, but I think the only reason this latest mayor, Chokwe Antar Lumumba, the only reason he got elected is because he has name recognition from his dad, who used to be mayor of Jackson, like a couple of mayors ago, and he like actually helped the city a fair bit from what I've read, and I think he like died under mysterious circumstances or something like that. It's kind of a lot. It's kind of a lot. But and now the son got elected and he's trying to like shake things up in Jackson, but instead he's just I don't want to say he's making things worse, cuz I think things were already pretty bad before he came in, but he's certainly not helping the situation at all. But anyway, I think that's enough of local politics for one podcast episode. But what was I even saying? Oh, I just don't want to live here anymore. My new place. Let's talk a little bit about that. I'm recording this on the 11th of June. It'll be going out Wednesday, the 15th, in lieu of a Not Just Arin podcast episode. Just keep things, semi-consistent. And actually, on the 15th, number one, it's when I get paid, hunty, and also it's when I sign my lease to my new place. And you may be wondering, but Arin, if I remember correctly, if I go back not that far in your video library, you moved in here like late July, and you would be correct. So I've thought about this, I've considered it. I did the math, I did the calculations, and I have decided that it will be worth it. But for the month of July, I will be paying double rent because it will be my last month here in this current apartment and my, I guess, technically second month in my new one. But like I said, I did the math, I did the calculations, and I've decided it will be worth it. And I do have the money set aside, so it's not like I'm going to be like destitute. I will be, as the British say, skint for like maybe a month or two, but it'll be fine. You usually... You'll be fine, but not you, me will be fine. I have decided. So it's not that big of a deal, but it is. I will acknowledge it's a silly financial decision. However, if I didn't do that and I did want to live in that apartment, it would probably be gone by like, I don't know, what is this, June 1st? So, because I went to see it actually in late May, and put in the deposit and everything, and they said they were going to hold it for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks are up in the 15th, and I have to pay my prorated rent amount, which is going to be $450. So if you do the math, you will see that my new apartment costs $850 a month, which isn't that much cheaper than what I'm currently paying for. And if you will remember, I will have said that I didn't like paying that much. And to be fair, I don't like paying that much, but options in Jackson are not great. There's like a couple of companies, there's a couple of companies that own basically all the rentals, I'll say, in like the center of Jackson. And then you have, and those are anything from complexes to, houses, duplexes, fourplexes, etc., etc. And then there are, in like the Jackson metro area, there are apartment buildings which may be reasonably priced, but they're kind of crusty. And, that's not really an environment that I want to live in, as a person who has grown up hearing gunshots and car racing for far too long. I think, at my big age of 22 years, I think I've had enough. And I don't think it's, I'm not too bougie or out of touch to say that I want to live somewhere where people aren't shooting at each other, And even the place I'm moving to, people are still very much shooting at each other. Again, this is Jackson. You can't there's nothing you can do about that. But they'll be shooting at each other less often. So... And the road is more recently paved, so that's a plus side. But anyway, 15th, I get a lease and a key. And then from then on, I can start moving my stuff over. And I think it's honestly really good that, even if I was moving in the beginning of July, which is what I initially planned, I still would kind kind of be doing the like gradual thing of, you know, filling up a couple boxes over the weekend and taking stuff over. I don't have to move all at once, all of that to say. And I think that's great, you know, because this first weekend I could just spend time doing some cleaning and, you know, taking measurements to see how big the furniture I need to buy needs to be, and just, you know, all of that stuff. And after that, again, slowly moving out. My my apartment building has been having elevator problems for, honestly, as long as I've lived here. I think the elevators worked maybe for like a week, and then it stopped working, and then it kept not working, and then the elevator company came and started repairing it, and now it still doesn't work. So I really don't know what's going on there. For the longest, they were saying they're waiting on a part to come in. I'm assuming the part came in. They like had to get a crane and everything to like do whatever they do in the elevator shaft. So I guess that didn't work. I legit don't know what's going on, but I really hope it's working by the time I actually move most of my large items out, because otherwise I'm not going to have to take the stairs. It's just going to take way longer, especially if I have people helping me, because then we're going to be waiting for the elevator on the bottom floor, and I live on the 5th floor. So, I mean, maybe if I lived on the 2nd or the 1st floor, taking the stairs might be reasonable, but the 5th floor, it ain't reasonable to me. I'm not doing that. It's a lot. So, you know, yeah, but I will say, and I think I said this on Twitter, I can't remember what account though, if it was my main or my other one. Anyway, it is going to be really fun going through my very small apartment and tossing out all the crap I've acquired over the, 11 months that I've been living here, because I do have some junk, some things that I need to get rid of, some things that I can potentially sell. So that'll be interesting. Have a little mini yard sale, or hallway sale, because I don't have a yard or a patio. So like the in front of my door sale, I don't know. So that'll be interesting, you know, going through and doing a real deep clean of this apartment. I mean, it doesn't take very long to clean it, like, at all. So that's honestly probably just gonna be like a day, not even a weekend, just a day. So that'll be interesting. I am looking forward very much to moving. Actually, I had a dream last night. Oh my goodness. Honestly, so wacky. You can tell that I'm either anxious about something or anticipating something if I dream about it. Now, I'm no, you know, dream interpretator, but I do think my dreams mean things, not like, you know, well, if you dream fish, somebody's pregnant. And I don't know if I've had dreams involving fish in any meaningful way. And a lot of people have been pregnant, so I don't know. I don't think that's true. And you may be saying, oh, maybe you dreamed it, but you don't remember it. I remember a lot of my dreams. I remember dreams from like years ago. Obviously, they have to be like meaningful in some way for me to remember them, but I still remember them. But anyways, last night, I had a dream. I'm not entirely sure where it started. As is usual with dreams, they usually just kind of start. They don't like have a starting point, if that makes sense. But I was moving into my new apartment, but my new apartment was like way nicer than it actually is. It was like a luxury apartment. There are like giant high ceilings and like a chandelier that use actual candles for some reason. And I go to like my laundry area and I see my landlord is giving me a washer and a dryer for free, because my new apartment has washer dryer hookups, and they never said they would do this, so I don't even know why I'm like thinking about it. But when I went in to look at the apartment for the first time, and I was talking to like the leasing lady, she was asking me, okay, is there like any problems with it? And I told her there's some things that were a little funky with it. She asked me if there was a washer dryer in there. I said no, and she like wrote it down. So I don't know what that means. Do they have like appliances in storage for me to use? Because that'd be really nice. While I am fully prepared to buy a used washer dryer, it would really be nice not to, you know? So that was a part of my dream. Weirdly, And I had a nice big kitchen and like stairs, even though my apartment is like one bedroom. And I think it still was in the dream, but I had like staircase. Oh no, because I had like a big patio area like on the second floor. It was like, I think it was like all patio or something. Or like not patio. What do you call it? Balcony. But it was like big and nice. So like a terrace or a promenade. I don't know. A mezzanine. Uh I don't know what you call it. But I had that on the second floor and like two like separate staircases leading up to that point, and my kitchen was like, I had a gas stove, which I don't have in my new apartment. It's electric. But it was a really weird dream, but it was honestly really nice. And yeah, I guess that just goes to show that I am very anxious to move into this new place, even though for all I know it might prove to be as disappointing as this one, but at least I will have a ceiling fan in my room, and that's great. So like I said, it's the 11th right now. I have, not including today, 4 days until I actually have the place. Because, I guess I'm the kind of person where it's not over till it's over. Like, when I got my job, I didn't really believe that I had, like, I thought, okay, maybe they might change their mind at some point or something. Like, I didn't believe anything until I, like, signed paperwork saying that, okay, you work here now. And technically speaking, I haven't signed a lease on this place yet. I will do that on the 15th. So I'm like, okay, I still need to keep my options open. I've still been checking Zillow and all the other sites just in case, trying to see, what's what. I paid my deposit, so I mean, that should be enough. But I haven't signed the lease. I haven't paid the first month's rent, so it's entirely possible that it could be snatched away from me at the last minute. So yeah, it's kind of like that, but I think it should be fine. I don't think, yeah, it should be fine. And in my looking for apartments, I've been looking at a lot of places, and I've been looking at all of their Google reviews, and honestly, there are very few, if any. Well, okay, there are some, but they're far out of my price range. But there are very few apartment buildings, and I'll say just like rental companies that have like positive reviews on Google, especially around here. I don't know how it is in like other areas, but around here, they're bottom of the barrel, like 1.5, 2 stars reviews for like living areas. And that, I think that includes my current apartment, but I haven't looked in a while. But yeah, the rental company that I will soon be renting from, they do have positive reviews. So yeah, I mean, they also like do like regular real estates, like houses and stuff. And I think you're less like, I don't know. Actually, I don't think that's true. I was going to say you're less likely to leave a bad review if you're buying a house, but that literally doesn't make sense. So never mind. I even said that. But yeah, these days are gonna go by fast because I have a lot of weird, wild, wacky, and insane. Okay, it's not weird or insane or wacky or wild even, honestly, but have new things going on at work that are making the days pass on very quickly. And honestly, my 13th through the 17th is just gonna be so busy. Just a lot of things happening, and it's just, like, great, but also a lot happening at once. And it's not bad stuff, obviously, but it is a lot in like 1 week. So yeah, all that is to say, I have an interesting week to look forward to. I guess the silver lining for all of that is because of the weird, wild, wacky, and insane stuff happening at work that is neither weird, wild, wacky, or insane. I get to work from home like a day a week temporarily, but I have been thinking about working from home. Back when I was job hunting, I was super against it because I was still living at home, and kind of the whole purpose of me finding a job is so that I can move out of home. But now that I am not by myself, but sure, yeah, by myself, out in the world, in a different place, I might consider it, I think so. Only if I could have an office, which means I need to find a new apartment with 2 bedrooms instead of 1. I was actually looking for a 2-bedroom apartment for like the longest time, and there are some, but the one that I decided to settle on, 1 bedroom, but it's a large bedroom, not even really. But I don't know, I just want to live my having an office fantasy. I just really want an office. Like, what's a girl got to do to get a separate room in her home that is an office? And actually, I kind of went through a thing with a different rental company because I was looking at one place that would actually be available in the month of July. And I saw, the little not virtual, but video walkthrough they did of it. It was honestly really nice. And I'm curious. I want to see if it's still available. And I was honestly kind of set on this place. It was within my price range. It was in a decent enough area. And it had a separate room that I could use as an office. And I wanted it so much. I'm just going to check to see if it's still available real quick. No, it is not. Yeah, it is no longer available, which is interesting because of what I'm about to say. So, when I was looking at it, whoever lives there currently is not going to move out until the 16th, right? Which, I mean, yeah, whatever, I guess that's how that works. But I, being a discerning consumer, wanted to see the inside of the apartment just to, make sure everything is all good, because the video that they posted to be like the video walkthrough or whatever was from 2016. And, I mean, that's like a whole president ago. So a lot can happen in those years. And I just wanted to know, like, how do I know that this place actually looks like what it looks like in the video if I'm not in there, So all I wanted to do was go in, look at the place, make sure everything was in the correct place, make sure the place wasn't falling apart, basically. Just know what I'm getting into with a place. But because the person was living there still, I couldn't do that. And I tried to, negotiate with them, I guess, being like, okay, is there any way we can get consent from the current person who lives there just to go in and look around? And essentially he said, no, can't do that. Understandable on that front, but I had applied for the place, right? Done the whole application, paid for it, which is, I mean, I guess I get why applications cost money, is because they have to do like a background check and that costs money, but that's still kind of lame because paying $50 it was a lot, because I think typically like application was like $35. That's typically what I saw for most places. The application fee was like $35, but this one, I'm pretty sure this one is either 40 or 50. It was more than 35, all that to say. And after I'd done it, first of all, it took them so long to even look at it and like approve it. Whereas the application for the place that I'm going to live in now, I put in my application like not even an hour later. They call me being like, hey, you're approved, bestie. So I don't even know why that took so long, because when I called them that next week, the week after I'd done the application, and I like kept calling them, eventually they say, okay, you're approved, whatever. Because I guess at that point they finally looked at it. So I would stop calling them, which is why you got to stay on these people. And then they were like, okay, next step is to pay the deposit. I'm like, hold on, skirt, pump the brakes. I can't pay a deposit on a place sight unseen. I don't even know what the inside of this place looks like, right? Like, I know what it looks like from the video. And they told me, they tried to assure me like, oh, the place, we have a video of it. Is that video not good enough? And no, it isn't, because I'm not there in the space. I don't know the vibes it's giving off. I don't know if it passes the vibe check yet. So I'm not going to pay a deposit on a place without even stepping foot in there. And, I don't think that's unreasonable. And like, I get a person was still living there, but why would you even list it if the person isn't even out yet? Because like, they're still paying rent up until the 16th of July. So I guess if you're trying to like get ahead, and by the way, when I saw this, it was maybe mid-May, so like a good couple of months before the person would even be leaving. And they told me that after the person left, they would have to like go in and clean and paint, and that takes time, right? So it was a good while before this person would even be moving out. And like to be listing it on there and expecting someone to pay a deposit for a place they can't even see in person, little sketchy, not gonna lie. Don't like it. It's a little weird. It doesn't sit right with my soul. So even though it was really nice, honestly, perfect what I wanted, I mean, hey, it might not be perfect because I can't go in and look at it for myself, so I don't even know what I'm getting into. But I refused to pay a deposit and just basically told them cancel my application. So I guess they got some rube to pay a deposit on an apartment sight unseen. So sucks for them. The rube, I mean, not the company, because they got their money out of it. But speaking of rubes, I posted about this on my Twitter, which if you're not following me on Twitter, you're only getting half the story. I really think you should be following me on Twitter. I'm going to tell you why. Because I have some popping off tweets sometimes. I think I make good points on twitter.com. And like I said, if you're not following me on Twitter, you're only getting half the story. So basically, what was I going to say? I posted about this one place that I saw on Zillow, right? It was a 2-bedroom. I could just look instead of guessing. I believe it was 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. It might have been a 2-2. I can't tell you because I don't know at this moment presently, but I am looking. Okay, it's a 2-1. And the picture that I posted on Twitter, you can clearly see it's like a converted shed in somebody's backyard, like right next to another shed. Like there's not even a walkway or a pathway. And I went on Zillow after the listing was taken down because sometimes, even if you can't like actually see a listing on like a little map, if you input the address into Google and then the Zillow listing comes up, it'll say it's off the market, but it will have sometimes old pictures if it was listed before. And you can see there's clearly like a house on that like property. There's a house there. And then whatever this is like behind that house along with this like shed. So the weird, wild, wacky, and insane thing is that, number one, it didn't have laundry, which is fine. Well, it isn't fine, actually. I don't think you should be leasing places that don't have access to laundry. Because, I mean, listen, laundromats, they exist for a reason. But if I'm going to be paying close to $800 for a rental, I want to have somewhere to do my laundry. You either give me 2 little coin-op laundry machines or you give me hookups. Like, how hard is that? For almost $800 a month, it's not that hard. Like, come on. Especially if you converted your shed for the purpose of people living in it. You could have gave them hookups, just saying. So, I feel strongly about the laundry situation, but that's kind of a personal thing. But something that isn't negotiable is a kitchen. The place did not have a kitchen. It did not. But I will read you the listing because honestly, the audacity of these landlords, affordable, and then it says the neighborhood. Well, okay, I posted this in full on Twitter, so never mind. I could say affordable Fondren Cottage with a great location close to UMMC, which is the hospital here. It's a hospital. It's also like a university. Like there are a lot of university students, like med students there. I don't know what university. Oh, it's the University of Mississippi. Duh, it's literally in the name. University of Mississippi Medical Center. Yeah, that hospital. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, large fenced backyard, except technically I guess it would be considered a front yard because it's in front of the actual place that you'll be living, but it's the backyard of the house. That's like the actual house, but whatever. With covered patio, pets negotiable, ample parking, important, does not have laundry or kitchen, ! Microwave and grill included though, smiley face, and it's just a microwave. Oh, so gracious of you to give me a microwave. Oh, a $25 microwave. Oh, I'm so grateful for this microwave you have provided us, oh great and holy landlord. Oh, thank you so much for the microwave. What would I do without you? And they also say you have a grill. And it's like, oh, great. I get to live what is that YouTube channel? The guy made like stuff is it primitive technology? I get to live my primitive technology life and cook outside constantly because there is no option for me to cook inside. So like that's great. And you're trying to sell me this renovated shack in somebody's backyard for, at the time that I screenshotted this, it was listed for $7.99, I believe. And then $7.99, which is close to $1,000. But eventually, I go back and look at it because I'm curious. Did anyone really rent this place out? I really need to know. And eventually I find out they did. However, one more appalling thing that I found out is that it was originally listed May 16th for $1,750 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom converted shack with no laundry and no kitchen. Sir, I am living in your garage and you want me to pay $1,750. Again, the audacity of these landlords. At some point, let's see, it says May 20th, the price has changed, $7.99. I don't know how that happened or if it was a mistake or whatever. I don't know the process for that. I am not a landlord and I don't list things on Zillow, so I don't know. But at some point, May 24th, 4 days later, they raised the price to $1,000, which, I don't know, might have been what they were intending to do before. I have no idea. But 2 days after that, May 26th, the listing was removed, which I can only assume that's because someone actually rented it out. And when I say a rube, I mean it because, listen, $1,000... For $1,000, you can find an actually decent apartment that does have a kitchen and laundry for $1,000. Like, this is not, like, what can I say? This isn't advertised to people that are down on their luck and just need, like, a spare room for, like, a month or, like, a short-term amount of time, right? This is $1,000, okay? 1,000. A third of somebody's income, okay, to live in a converted shack in someone's backyard, and someone actually went for it. I'm assuming someone actually went for it because the listing was removed. I don't know if they delisted it or what. I've since forgotten the address, so I can't go back and look it up to see if it's been listed elsewhere on, like, you know, those spare room sites or whatever, where you can, like, rent out, like, a room in somebody's house. So I don't know. It's entirely possible that someone hasn't rented it out, but it's also entirely possible that someone has. And it's just like, could you find nothing else? Could you find nothing else for $1,000 a month? You couldn't find an actual apartment. You had to settle for the shack. I really want to know why. I want to know why. I just want to know why. Just why? It's just so, the audacity. That's all I can really say is just the audacity. And, you know, I haven't really found that many, let's say, audacious listings here. I think this was obviously before I moved here and before I, like, found a job. But I think I posted on Twitter, like, maybe last year, like, a while ago, that somewhere in some other city, they were, like, renting out, like, clearly a converted attic or converted, like, upper floor of, like, maybe a duplex or, like, someone's actual house. And there was also no kitchen. It was literally just a microwave on a countertop, and that was, like, the kitchen. And I don't know, man. Unless this is, like, a hotel room or you're living here for, like, a short amount of time, I don't see why people think it's acceptable to, like, rent out places that don't have, like, even the bare minimum of, like, a single, like, not a double-sided sink, just a single sink and, like, a mini fridge, but it has, like, a freezer attached to it and, like, you know, the smallest 20-inch stove that you can find and, like, no countertop space. Like, you couldn't at least do that. Like, you really, really had the audacity. I don't know, man. Listen, maybe in other cities they can get away with, like, renting out apartments that literally don't have kitchens. But I don't even think it's acceptable there. Like, why would you do that? You know? Like, again, unless it's, like, a short-term thing, maybe, like, a week, a month maximum, I still don't understand. Because even now that I'm, like, working a lot and I don't, like, cook every day, I still need a place where I have that option. I need something. So, yeah, that is the ballad of the house with no kitchen. Good God. But you get a grill, though. You get a grill and a microwave. You get a grill and you get one of those little tiny charcoal grills and a 700-watt microwave. That's it. That's all you get. You get those, though. That counts. That doesn't violate any kind of housing rules. And hey, I guess it doesn't violate any kind of housing rules because I have seen places like that. Not specifically in Jackson. Like, I think this is the first time I've seen that in Jackson, but like elsewhere. So, oh Lord, man, that got me riled up. That was a lot. I do have one other thing that I want to talk about, but we are almost at an hour now. That is so amazing. Wow. This one should be short. I haven't drawn in over a month, which, might not be that surprising to you, listener, but to me it is quite odd because I used to be the type of person, especially in high school, where I literally draw every day. Like back home, I have so many sketchbooks, all completely filled of just, drawings that I would do every day. Finished ones too, fully colored and everything and lined. And I don't know, I went and looked before I started recording here just to see when the last time was, and it was mid-April. That was the last finished drawing that I did, and I'm like, wow, it really has been that long. And it's not like I haven't tried, because, sometimes I'll start on something, but then I'll get to trying to finish it, and it's just ugh, I don't like this. I want to stop and do something else. It's not even that I'm disinterested, it's just that I don't have the energy to, finish anything. And, I'm not, at my computer right now, so I can't go back and look. But, even last year, I at least had, a couple drawings each month. And then, of course, the years previous to that, I would have, I don't know, a whole lot. But, I don't know. I don't know what the reason for that is. Maybe, is it because I'm working? I still make time for my other hobbies, like playing video games and reading books. But for drawing, I don't know. My drawing tablet, it just sits there on my desk, taunting me. Why aren't you using me? What's wrong? Have I done something wrong? Which is, okay, that was kind of weird, but you get the vibe. I haven't drawn in a long time, and it's kind of weird. I thought about it a little bit today. I haven't been doing anything today. Honestly, this is super weird, but today I found myself being bored. Just partially why I'm doing this solo podcast is because I was laying in bed, scrolling on YouTube. Usually I have no problem finding something to watch, but I'm scrolling and it's I don't have anything to do, which isn't necessarily true. I have a lot to do. I could start packing. I could clean. I need to do my dishes. There's plenty of things that I can do. It's just, I don't want to do any of them, which is odd. I haven't had that feeling in quite some time now. But now I do. It's just, it's almost sometimes I also feel when I'm not at work or when I'm outside of work, particularly on the weekends, like it is now, I kind of don't know what to do. It's so weird because, this isn't really anything new. When I was still at home, languishing in unemployment, I would often find myself waking up, have coffee, check social media, and then around that time, I'll have something to eat, take a nap, wake up. Now it's I don't know, wasting my time doing whatever. And then it's time to go to sleep again. And I would do that for several days, or several weeks really. And I guess at that point, at the point that I'm talking about, I kind of slowed down on making YouTube videos because I didn't really have a lot of ideas and a lot of energy for execution. It didn't happen. So, it doesn't quite feel like that. This is kind of new, because still I have something to do during the week, which is my job. And then of course, the podcast with Not Arin, that does occupy my time. It's a creative endeavor, a creative pursuit. And that does, take up some time. But aside from that, I haven't really made a video in a while. I have a list still, but it's just either I feel like they're not interesting enough or I just don't want to do them. I don't know what to to say. And I found myself, looking at, I have a couple books that I'm either in the process of reading or haven't read yet. And it's just like, man, I read a couple of really, really good books. I'd say maybe around this time last year. And I just, I want another page turner like that. But it's like, I don't know. I guess I just don't have them. Like the book that I'm reading now, House of Gucci, it's right in front of me. It says right on the cover here, a sensational story of murder, madness, glamour, and greed. I have the book in my hand. I'm reading it. But I'm on chapter 9, which is the Changing Partners chapter. I'm on, page 138. And we're only talking about the history of the Gucci business. Like, I'm not even sure when we're going to get into, first of all, Patrizia's background. They kind of go into it, but only because, Maurizio got married to her and that affected the family dynamic in some way. And I forgot what year he died. I think it was 95. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But we're still in the 80s at this point. And I guess you want to be thorough with everything, but I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe I was a little throwed off by the movie, but then the blurb on the back, it makes it seem like it's mostly about, Patrizia and Maurizio's relationship, when in reality it's mostly about the history of Gucci, the family, and the business. So, that part was interesting for a while, but now I'm trying to get to the meat and potatoes of everything, and I'm kind of bored. Reading about, tax evasion and business acquisitions, it's fine, but this not what I signed up for. And since I am pretty far in, and there is still a lot to go, I don't want to DNF it, but man, I do want to read something else, And I guess technically speaking, I don't have to, but again, I feel a little bad because number one, I spent money on it, and number two, I actually got my local bookstore to buy copies of it because I asked about it. So, if I don't actually read it, then why did the bookstore buy copies of it? I'm sure other people are going to read it, but, I specifically asked about it, and as I was standing there with the bookshop guy, he, literally ordered copies of it in front of me, so, I don't know, I feel if I don't read it, it'll be like that book order was in vain, so I can't do that to that bookshop guy whose name I don't even know, and I also can't go back to the bookstore and buy more books, because I have this one. Joseph bought me Fight Club for Christmas, so I have that one. I bought Knock 'em Stiff months ago, and I haven't finished reading it because, honestly, a little brutal, I read a lot of stuff about murder and, I'm into true crime, but for some reason, Knock 'em Stiff is, too much for me, which is by Donald Ray Pollock, by the way. Same guy who wrote Devil All the Time, which got adapted into the Netflix movie. And of course, there's Fight Club. And then I bought Interview with a Vampire, which they also bought new copies of it. Well, okay, they bought new copies of it because I asked about it, but also at the time that I asked about it, Anne Rice had just died, so they were probably gonna end up buying new copies anyways. But whatever. Yeah. Also, I'll interject a little bit with a little bit of a tangent. I do like our local bookstore. I'll shout it out. Lemuria Books off of I-55. I like it a lot. It's just the way that it's organized is so confusing to me because I don't know if there's a guide or anything, but with your, I guess we'll call big box bookstores like Books A Million or Barnes and Noble, you have the mystery section and then you have the nonfiction section. It's all broken down very coherently, but there are different sections in that store. It's just I don't know what they are. There's no signs. I can surmise where the history section is, but I don't know how it's broken down. And I can, surmise where the, let's say, graphic novel section is, but I don't know how that's broken down. So it's a little confusing sometimes, but I'm not going to shop at a big box bookstore because I like to support local businesses. Which is why all the books except for, I bought Sharp Objects not long after I moved here because my friends went to a Barnes and Noble to like peruse, but I'm the kind of person where I can't just peruse in a bookstore. If I see a book I've been wanting to read for a while, I'm gonna buy it. And unfortunately, it's a mass market paperback with the dang show cover, which I hate. Because I ended up buying Dark Places, and of course I've had Gone Girl for like a while, and those have the original covers on them, but Sharp Objects, it has Rachel, is it Adams or McAdams? One of the Rachels is on there, you know, so, and I actually I tried to start watching it. I haven't finished it. I don't want to for some reason. Like, I found the book really engaging, but the show, for whatever reason, just ain't doing it for me. So that's that. But yeah, I have a whole, well, they're mostly on my Kindle, which is like on the other side of the room, and I also turned it off because I plan on selling it because I don't need it anymore. But I read a lot of really great books, like, I want to say around this time last year, so this isn't going to be in chronological order, but My Dark Vanessa, which is really good, maybe plagiarized, we don't know, a little bit of a Skoondal there. Luckiest Girl Alive, which is being adapted into a Netflix movie. Don't know when it's coming out. It's supposed to come out this year. Haven't heard anything about it. I keep looking, by the way. And by the time it comes out, I am doing a video about it. Because I did a video about the book. I did a video about the fact that it's being adapted into a movie. And I'm going to be doing a video review of the movie whenever it comes out. And honestly, I'm preparing myself for that to kind of flop. I'm readying myself in my heart, because it might. You know, they say the book was better because the book is usually better. Talking about book to movie adaptations. So I'm just preparing myself for a flop. I hope it doesn't, but it might. Those two. I read The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Delilah Harris, which, oh my god, I'm frothing at the mouth for her to put out another book, even though that was literally her debut, and it literally came out last year, and books take a long time to read, but I really want her to write another book. That's also supposed to get adapted into something, but considering, you know, the tagline is like, The Devil Meets Prada meets Get Out. It's already somewhat derivative of two already existing movies. I don't know if a movie adaptation is gonna, well, I can't remember if it was a movie or a series. I don't know, number one, how successful that's gonna be, considering it's already somewhat derivative, and number two, actually, that was the only thing. I just don't know how like successful it's going to be. I hope it's super successful. I hope she gets bags of money, you know. But I also don't know what stage in development that's in, because like I checked her website and there was like an article or press release or something that said soon to be a series or something. But anyway, there's that one. Phenomenal. And then another one is The Vegetarian by Hong Kong. It is, I think it was either originally published in Japanese or Korean, and therefore it got translated. But I still thought it was a really good book. The Silent Patient. Oh my god. So great. Again, another debut novel. Alex Michaelides. He's Greek. I don't know how to say that, but that was fantastic. And I read The Maidens, also really good. So yeah, I read a lot of good books this time last year, and I guess I just want to recreate that feeling of like reading a really good book, like a good page turner, you know, a really good, ooh yeah. But since we're talking about books, A.G. Thomas, the only writer whose works I've read that I follow on twitter.com. She actually moved away from Jackson. At first I was like, man, I thought you were gonna stay behind and enrich the community, but like, I get it, I understand. I don't want to live here either. I'm not even from here. So yeah, she bought like a house in Atlanta or whatever. Also because she's starting up a production company, which I've only heard this from like a secondary source, and also like a deleted Facebook post that like got not archived or cached, but like it still shows up in the Google search results what the post actually said. I don't even know if this has been like announced or anything, because I swear I haven't seen it announced. I feel like if it was announced, it would be in the news around here, because, you know, she is a Jackson native. But I haven't seen anything about it. But like a couple years ago, this was before I graduated from college, one of my creative writing professors, or maybe it was my English professor at Belhaven, where she also went, said that she was starting like a production company. And I thought, ooh, that's nice, because she had, at this point, on the come up was coming out, and I think The Hate You Give, that had come out. On the Come Up is in production currently, and then Concrete Rose probably has like a movie deal somewhere down the line. And then, so there was that, and that's kind of like a secondary source, but also they're still in like contact. So I found that to be believable at the time. And then I actually looked it up, and I saw like a Facebook post that said, I'm excited to announce my production company. And it was called Act Up Productions, which I'm going to look up to see if I can find it. Maybe not, but I still feel like it should exist. Because that was like a couple years ago. Maybe like 2020. It feels pre-pandemic to me, but let's see. There's Acting Up Productions, which is a unique mix of classes. Okay, no. There's Acting Up, which is a 501c3. There's Act Up Productions, which is a YouTube channel and has videos from like 6 years ago. A Tough Act. Okay. That's what it's called. It's called A Tough Act. I don't know where Act Up came from, but no, it's here. This is the production company. Let's see. A Tough Act Production strives to bring diverse stories for young people to television and film. Stay tuned for more. And there's a Twitter account. And it hasn't tweeted anything since like 2021. So yes, it does exist. Not a whole lot's going on with it. Let's see. I'll have to look into that more. Because I forgot what production company produced The Hate You Give, but I think after that, considering that there are like several movie deals for On the Come Up, which is after The Hate You Give, and Concrete Rose, which is like the prequel to The Hate You Give. I've read all three, by the way. Quick review. I'll say I like The Hate You Give more than the other two. I'm not gonna lie. On the Come Up, a little forgettable. And Concrete Rose, I did like it, but it felt a little too real. It felt a little too real, so I couldn't quite enjoy it. It wasn't the escapism that I was thinking it would be. It was good, and then at some point, as I was reading it, I realized that I was not the target audience. They are YA novels, and I'm not a YA anymore. Well, okay, I technically am a young adult, but, I think YAs technically, they're not kids' books. But I don't know if teen is like a book demographic. So and they're not for like, people in their 20s. Even though you can still read them, and I have, and I've been in my 20s. But I don't know, I can tell this just it's for high schoolers. I'll say that much. That's the target audience. It wasn't me. But I still, it was a decent read. I was turning pages. It was not exactly a page turner, but I found it enjoyable, and just not as much as The Hate You Give. That's my quick review on the Angie Thomas trilogy. I wonder if it's one of these things where she like signed a 3-book deal, and now she's just like focusing on movies. Because I haven't heard anything else about another book coming out. And again, I do follow her on twitter.com. So I would hear about these things. But I think she's just working on movies for now. Which, what, good for her. I can't knock a lady's hustle. But, yeah. I actually saw her speak once. She came to chapel at Belhaven. The only chapel that I've ever wanted to stay awake in. Because the other ones, snooze fest. But hers, finally, somebody I can relate to. Not old stuffy Christian dudes trying to preach the gospel about whatever, And then she had a kind of, what do you call it? I don't know what you call it. Not a meet and greet, not a Q&A either. It was just like a little event at our college. I think it was hosted through Lemuria. So there was that. And I had a chance to see a screening of The Hate You Give probably before it came out. But I didn't have a car at the time. And I didn't have a ride, so I couldn't go. And I still haven't seen the movie, so there's that. Will I ever see it? I don't know. I feel like if a book is like really good for me, watching the movie of it would sully the experience. So that kind of happened with me with Little Fires Everywhere, which is another phenomenal book that I read last year. I started watching the Hulu series and I couldn't even finish the first episode. I don't know why. It's just that you have an idea of the characters and like the setting and you have an idea of the characters and the setting and everything in your head, and when it doesn't live up to that, it's like, you know, it's just like I could just read the book. So I'm trying to find, there's this one website, right? Because I said, I read so many good books last year. I want to find more like that. But there's this one website where you can like put in 3 books and it gives you recommendations based on those 3 books. And I don't know if it was specifically 3 or what, but I know what books I read last year that I really liked. They're all more or less in the same genre. They're like thrillers and kind of family dramas and also like kind of, domestic, if that makes sense. And I don't know, I just can't find any site like that. And yeah, I'm going to keep looking for it, but yeah. Anywho, I've been going for far too long. I'm running out of steam. This is the first and only episode of the It's Really Just Arin podcast. Listen, I might be open to doing more of these in the future. You never know. It might be something I want to do. Follow me on Twitter at It's Just Arin _ Arin with an A. Don't forget that. Read my Medium articles. That's going to be linked below. ArinVictoria.medium.com. And listen to my podcast, my main podcast, Not Just Arin. It's on YouTube, and it's on Spotify, and it's on Anchor, and it's on Google, and it's on Apple. It may or may not still be on Apple because I haven't accepted the terms and conditions that have been updated, so who knows, they might have delisted it. I actually don't know. I have to go in and check. So, hopefully next week you'll get a regular episode, special episode, because it'll be our 20th. Yes. What that special episode will be, you'll just have to wait and find out, as well as a video on my channel, this very channel, featuring Not Arin, aka Joseph. So, yep. I'm gonna go procrastinate cleaning some more. And hopefully, I need to turn the air back on because it is getting hot in here. I turned it off because it's really loud, but I gotta turn it back on.